The year was 1958, and the U.S. Air Force tasked the RAND Corporation to stand up an independent analysis shop close to the Pentagon that could perform quick and medium-term studies. As a result, Analytic Services Incorporated was established as a not-for-profit corporation and soon became known as Answer. The Air Force was Answer's sole client, and Answer's timely responsiveness and ability to get the job done were immediately evident. Answer's leadership believed that providing the correct answer was crucial to establishing and building a great reputation with its clients. 1976 marked a sharp turning point in Answer's way of life. The Department of Defense ended Answer's status as a federal contract research center, allowing Answer to pursue other work within the government. Besides diversifying its client base beyond the Air Force, Answer created a space division to support the Air Force's move into the high frontier. Answer also opened the Dayton office, its first move outside the Beltway. In its first 25 years, Answer grew from a staff of 36 to 230, while tackling 1,500 projects. President Ronald Reagan wrote to Answer on his 25th anniversary, quote, "For a quarter of a century, your efforts have played a valuable role in analyzing our national defense needs and helping maintain America's security."
Answer worked side by side with Secretary of the Air Force R&D and acquisition clients from 1958 to 2001, providing technical expertise and institutional memory. Answer had an impact on virtually every major Air Force program: bombers, fighters, tactical missiles and ordnance, airlifters and tankers, surveillance aircraft, electronic warfare and radar systems, ICBMs, nuclear warheads, strategic surveillance and warning systems, satellites, space launch vehicles, test facilities, and many others. The 1980s saw Answer become heavily involved in strategic defense, supporting the R&D activities of the Strategic Defense Initiative Organization at their headquarters offices as well as at test and launch sites. In the late 1980s, DoD revitalized its Special Operations Forces. Answer conducted foundational analyses for the newly established U.S. Special Operations Command, identifying the resources, equipment, and training it required for continuous worldwide engagement. The 90s had barely begun when Iraq invaded Kuwait. President Bush responded, declaring to the world, "This will not stand." During the Gulf War, Answer was involved with various projects supporting the war effort and was a key participant in the post-war study, the Gulf War Air Power Survey. In 1991, Answer began its still ongoing support to the Special Assistant to the Secretary of Defense for Atomic Energy and Chemical Matters, DoD's focal point for chemical and biological defense and chemical demilitarization. In 1994, CEO John Fabian created the Center for International Aerospace Cooperation in Moscow to pursue mutually beneficial projects with a newly democratic Russia.
As the new millennium approached, Answer, under the leadership of Dr. Ruth David, demonstrated its ability to anticipate emerging priorities by pursuing a new strategic objective: Homeland Security. In 2000, the company established the Institute for Homeland Security, which began publishing the Journal of Homeland Defense and the Homeland Defense newsletter, gaining recognition for its expertise. In 2001, Answer worked with the USS Cole Commission to produce a report on the bombing of that ship in Yemen the year before. March of 2001 saw Answer move from Crystal City to Shirlington. 6 months later, a loud whoosh sounded above corporate headquarters as Flight 77 flew toward the Pentagon. In the wake of 9/11, Congress passed the Homeland Security Act of 2002, which called for the creation of the Department of Homeland Security. The legislation also mandated the creation of a federally funded research and development center to study issues related to securing the homeland. In 2004, Analytic Services was selected over numerous competitors to establish and operate the Homeland Security Institute, or HSI. As the operator of HSI, Answer performed an enormous number of studies for DHS, touching on all areas of Homeland Security, including border security, immigration, screening technologies, incident response, natural disasters, federal and state issues, command and control, smuggling and trafficking, workforce issues, force planning, chem-bio threats, radicalization, and continuity of operations.
In 2002, Answer began providing base security assessment and training for Pacific Air Forces, work that continues today. In 2004 and 2005, Answer hosted 3 major federal commissions: the Space Shuttle Columbia Accident Investigation Board, the Independent Panel to Review Department of Defense Detention Operations, and the Defense Base Closure and Realignment Commission. When an intelligence customer needed a comprehensive look at cell phone and wireless technology deployments worldwide, Answer took on the challenge and provided hundreds of products derived from public sources from 2000 to 2012. In 2004, at the behest of the National Guard and U.S. Northern Command, Answer began developing Vigilant Guard tabletop exercises for U.S. states and territories, work that continued through 2012. Shortly after Hurricane Katrina devastated and flooded New Orleans, federal authorities engaged Answer to work with and analyze the efforts of a call center, providing citizen reunification with family victims, identification of missing persons, and reinterment of remains displaced from cemeteries.
In 2006, maintaining the educational assistance commitment that began in 1958, Analytic Services expanded its investment in the professional development of its staff in a unique way. By creating the Applied Systems Thinking Institute, or ASYST, to help analysts master the growing complexity of national security issues and ensure their efforts account for and balance all factors. Besides serving as a basis for in-house workforce development and a framework for analytical problem solving, ASYST quickly became a corporate discriminator in proposal bids. Since 2007, Answer has supported U.S. Air Force arms control practitioners directly and by hosting preparatory conferences for their START and Open Skies treaty teams. 2007 saw the blossoming of Army military police-related work, such as expeditionary forensics, military police training of Afghan and Iraqi police forces, counterinsurgency and detention operations, and Army anti-terrorism awareness and Pentagon Force Protection Agency tasks. In 2009, Answer was at the forefront with analytic responses to domestic terror incidents such as the Fort Hood shooting and the Washington Navy Yard shooting. The latter years of the decade saw Answer become the go-to company in forensics and biometrics expertise, expanding its reach to include DoD, the Army Criminal Investigation Lab, the Army Provost Marshal General, the Marine Corps, and DIA. In 2010, Answer initiated the Distinguished Speaker Series of presentations, inviting national security luminaries to edify Answer employees. Since 2011, the company has supported the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering with the Manufacturing Technology Program, the Defense Department Laboratory Office, the Joint Capability Technology Demonstration Program, and Emerging Capability and Prototyping. Answer played a central role in creating 8 Manufacturing Innovation Institutes.
In 2013, Answer moved a few miles to Skyline on Leesburg Pike in Fairfax County, near a location it had occupied 35 years earlier. Like the building in Shirlington, Skyline 7 has a conference center, nearby shops and restaurants, and bus service. Responding to the government's strategic pivot, Answer stood up another institute, Banyan Analytics, to study issues in Asia and the Pacific. Among its initiatives, Banyan Analytics published a framework for U.S. response to foreign disasters, studied the 2011 earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear accident in Japan, and ran an exercise to test military response to a Pacific health emergency. In 2014, ANSWER assisted in the operation to safely destroy the Syrian chemical weapons stockpile.
It's really a pleasure to be here.
In 2015, Ron Cuneo, chairman of ANSWER's Board of Trustees, assumed temporary control of the corporation as acting CEO. A few months later, the board selected Carmen Spencer as ANSWER's new president. In January 2017, ANSWER purchased Advanced Technology International of Summerville, South Carolina, a nonprofit company that organizes and manages research and development consortia on behalf of the federal government. ATI was originally created by the state of South Carolina and overseen by the South Carolina Research Authority. After experiencing a half-dozen difficult years, ANSWER is currently on the rebound, ranking number 87 on the Bloomberg list of defense contractors. As the United States has changed and grown, so has Analytic Services, a unique organization that has weathered the storms of change and kept a solid focus on why it was created and what had to be done to succeed then, now, and in the future.